Welcome to you all for this session with Guneet Monga. We're so happy to have you all here. Um, yeah. So happy to have you here, Guneet. We first met when you came in 2013, when you were here with Lunchbox as the producer of Lunchbox. And you were a much younger producer there then, and the DIFF was a much younger festival. So I'm so glad to have you back. You've been on our advisory board, and you've been always there for our festival. And, that's been a real pleasure for us.
Thank you. I loved it, and I'm very vocal about it. I love that so many beautiful filmmakers come out for it. There is a certain sense of love and peace that this is run by, and you feel it. Everything is pretty rushed everywhere else, but DIFF has a very, very special place in my heart. And I'm just so happy that whatever platform I have to extend and share it with DIFF and members of DIFF. So thank you everybody for coming out in support, getting your passes, um, being here and celebrating this in the mountains, in the most special place, Dharamshala, McLeodganj.
Thank you so much, Guneet. So, yeah. So I just will start off with a question or two because then we've decided to just open up to the audience because Guneet wants to share whatever she can with all of you.
Yeah, whatever questions you guys have,
But
but
I have
yes,
a question,
yes.
Guneet. So you're not even 40. You've done so much. And for me, that's like amazing to see you. You know, you're like a 30, almost 30, and now you're almost 40. And you've just done an incredible amount. You know, you've been back with an Oscar. You've produced over 35 films. You know, you just do so much. So my question is, what makes you tick? How do you get up in the morning? What do you think? What am I going to do today? And what motivates you? How do you make it happen?
For me, it's not work. I love it. Like, I love telling stories. I love making films. I love meeting people. I almost feel like time is short and life is short. There's so much I want to do. There's so much I want to be able to. Like, there have been seniors of mine who have told me, calm down, you will burn out. Because people who've been around more when I was in my 20s, also the same energy and be like, hum sab kar lenge, you know there was a year I did 7 films in a year. I did burn out that year. But we did 7 feature films that I produced that year. So I think that was the year of Gangs of Wasseypur and Shaitan, and so much happened. And Tashir Desh and Aya. I think I've counted 4. There were more. There was Shahid that year. So there was just it's incredible to have um, i- to be able to there's so many amazing filmmakers around, and I feel to understand the commerce bit of it, because we are in 100% equity industry. We don't get any grants, and it we don't get any tax rebates. That's the lay of the land in India. We are 100% equity industry, and it's also a star system. It's also driven by actors. In midst of all of that, if you find beautiful stories that you want to be able to tell, then how do you make it happen? It's a big question. And I think I grew up when I was new in Bombay. I was called like, oh my god, you're too Punjabi, you're too loud. I'm just like excited. So I had to justify how to talk. I had to learn. People used to say, oh, you're such a hustler, and that was a bad word, and I internalized it. And I was like, oh, so I'm like, am I it's a bad thing, to just want to make your films and just be so excited about it that anybody who talks, like, do you know this? So is it a pylon? So I went to therapy to, like, what do I do? Because this is my nature. This is who I am. I get I'm my brain activates when somebody says that, oh, this is not possible. I was like, I'll do it. You know, and I'll dive deep and be like, okay, I'll figure out how to swim. Who do we need to do this? I'll make calls. I'll ask. I believe in the power of asking. I believe asking freely. You never know. I wanted to get married in Habitat Center. Like, very simple thing. And I put it up on my Instagram. I had 10 people offer their memberships. Like, on our card. I didn't even know these people, but ask. Like, I was like, I need to book five rooms, so you need one membership to book 5 rooms. So then I had 10 members. After that, I became a member. But what I'm trying to say is that just ask freely. You don't even know where help comes from. How many people you know, how many people somebody else knows will open a door, and that window can be outstanding, can be amazing. So intention is important, but I think asking is really important. And I have this story that I always share, and I want to put it out here, that when I turned 18, my dad's grand plan, life my grand plan was to make me an insurance agent. So he had this really like solid business career for me, which was of an insurance agent. And of course, Punjabi dad, very sure that now my daughter will become an insurance agent. And he put me in a school, and I went to study insurance. And 3 months I was in Ritunanda School of Insurance in Delhi. And after that I got a job at Tata AIG. My first business card was an insurance agent, and I was really excited. In that office, I was very excited about the stationery. I was like, this is like, when things get real, you have your business card with a big corporate. But the only thing that I learned there in insurance, and that stayed with me till date, is like 10 people will say no to you, and that one person will say yes. And that is the mantra of my life. So I go into rooms when I'm raising money, I'm like, fatapat mana kar do, quickly just say no. Like even before pitch, I'm like, if you don't want to do it, just say no right now. Because it's been in my brain. The more no's I hear, because the yes is coming. it's been my it's been my journey in trying to find a husband, uh, and my journey trying to make films. Be like, everybody I've dated, fatapat mana kar do. you know he, he's like, what's wrong with you? I said, nahi kar rahi na shadi, abhi mana kar do. Because whoever wants to get married will come and say yes, but you first say no, na, don't waste time. So so it's been my mantra. So I think coming from that, freely asking, celebrating the no's, not wasting time and rejected on no's, because it's okay, it doesn't work for somebody. It's not personal. You move on, and you open another door, you meet more people, and then when you know that you're working in an equity industry, you can't have charity conversations, you can't have philanthropy conversations. This is an equity industry. It makes no sense to have like, why don't you give it to me, why? you know so there's no point doing that. You're climbing the wrong tree. So if you are so passionate about making something, you have to figure out how you're distributing it. And I've always said this, that ideas are free. They're free, they're dime a dozen, and we all have 100 ideas. The magic happens in execution. You have to have the power to execute your idea, and that's where magic happens. You don't even know where help from universe comes through, what window opens, and you more connections happen. So the execution is the trial period, but the tough, like, that's where magic happens. But the impact of whatever you do lies in distribution. So if you have executed something and there is no distribution, then it's not impactful. There's no point of doing the whole thing. It's one thing that you want to harness your skills as a filmmaker and get out there and do that. um and if it's an experiment, then know that from day one. And if it's an experiment, then crowdfund, then de-risk, then have open up those pages. I crowdfunded Peddlers and Haramkhor in 2009. Two of my initial films, 2000, not 2009, 2010 and 11. And there were no crowdfunding platforms. I crowdfunded on my Facebook. I just started writing, and Facebook is just people I know, and that's where crowdfunding starts. People who also want to help you don't know how they can help you, right? So you put it out there, and I put together a message saying, I'm looking for 1 crore, and I can only accept it from 10 people. Who Nobody taught me this. I was like, I'll only accept 10 people with 10 lakhs. And when those people started getting in touch with me, they were my ex schoolmates, seniors from college. Like, we want to understand how you do this. There were some business people, parents of somebody, and they were like, we'll figure it out. And then they had more friends, and I did find my 10 people. It made it to the news. I found 8 people, and it made it to a news. And through articles, somebody contacted, the journalist contacted me, and 2 more people came through, like business people. They're like, we just want to understand filmmaking, and 10 lakhs is fine. And I was day one telling them that maybe you cannot see this money back. Is that okay? But we'll have a wonderful ride. The film that never released actually went to Cannes. All the investors came to Cannes, but it never released. But I did not die with that pressure. So it was a deal that a studio never decided to release. And of course, but I was not pressurized of recovery. And then when we did Haramkhor, we put it out on theaters and it won. It was in profit. So you have to be creative. You have to innovate. Uh, um, I've applied to of labs around the world, and that's helped me a lot. My first was a producers lab in Rotterdam that I got through Film Bazaar in Goa. Going to Film Bazaar, getting through Rotterdam, went to Rotterdam, learned producing. That's where I figured that whole of Europe works on taxpayers' money, and there's actually a treaty. I learned this in Rotterdam that India and France has a co-production treaty of financing movies, and it was signed in 1985, and I was the first one to use it in 2011, and that film was Lunchbox. And I wanted to make Lunchbox, which had no songs, and we were figuring it out. And we actually raised, it was around a 10, 11 crore movie. We raised around 50% of the movie through soft money in France, going through the grant system, going through the application system, writing and figuring it out, and educating myself, working with different set of lawyers. Um and also we were at Sundance, Ritesh's other project, and for everything we used to ask for help. Can you tell us if this is okay? Then from Rotterdam we went to Berlinale, and that's where we found our French producer and our German producer, and we started figuring out how to do this. It was very very hard because it was very first because there's no other producer I can even talk to in India, but there were people internationally who would help, who would just be available to answer your questions. I remember giving an EP credit to a producer who I asked all my questions to. I was like, can you just please tell me how this is done? Because it was very hard, but we saw the end of it. But what happened was that it also had so much word of mouth because there were so many producers on it. And that led to the film breaking out when it came at Cannes. And the whole sales agency model. We used the treaty again for Masaan, and nobody still used it. So it's out there to figuring it out. How do you de-risk yourself? How do you make the equity system happen for your own self is a journey that all of us need to learn, and this is producing, and finding. uh, for me, I didn't know anybody. I come from a very very humble family, and to give you context, my parents and I used to stay in a rented house for 5,000 rupees in outskirts of Delhi, in $100, and that in Surajkund, and I came out of a huge personal tragedy. I didn't know anybody. I just went to Bombay, shared an apartment with 5 other girls, and I used to be in coffee shops just asking people, "Do you have a story?" Like I want to be a producer. So this is so you start where you can, and who wants to work with you, and you double down on the tribe. You educate each other. The hunger for learning needs to be there. If you're ready to learn, you're ready to ask, all the information is out there. It's even more out there. There is Film Independent that has helped me in a very big way. Set up all meetings in LA, with just talking through people, just getting perspective. I still want to do like a big sci-fi film. I still want to do a huge female-led action film, and I've figured it out. But this is me, 16 years being in the business, 35 films down, at least 100 short films down, uh, documentaries, but each of them have been innovative. Each of them have been, and I literally wake up every morning thinking, how can I service the story? What can I do? Who can I call? And when Lunchbox did not find its distribution in India, we sold the whole world minus India. I reached out to Karan Johar. I didn't know him. I just met him at a dinner. I literally invited myself to his table and I was like, "Hi, Karan, this is Guneet." And he was eating, and I was just like shameless, but polite, you know. And he was like, "Do you think you make love stories? I've made a love story. Do you think you can watch it, and maybe distribute it?" And he's like, "Okay, let's do a screening." So and I was like, "We're picking up so many awards here. You have to make your own project sound like it's the best thing on this earth ever to happen, and you will be so lucky to be a part of it." you know and that confidence comes from within. That confidence comes from 1000% self faith, 100% belief, turning fear into faith every day, every moment that this will happen. This will, because rejection is easy, and self deprecation is so easy, and going into sorrow is so easy. We like being there, we like being victims. But getting out of it is just like, yeah, let's keep trying. Maybe somebody will say no. I had the same formula for Monsoon Shootout. I thought when I reached out to Karan Johar for Lunchbox, and it worked so beautifully, and we found distribution in India. I thought Monsoon Shootout, I'll find somebody who does thriller. Nobody even met me. But I tried. I tried to open so many doors. I tried to go to Vishesh Films. I just tried meeting all these people, who are mainstream Bollywood people, and Hindi film industry. And I was like, my film played at Cannes. Do you think you can watch it? It did not track to the point. Then I literally called up Arijit, and I said, do you think, I introduced myself and I said, do you think you can sing 2 songs for this film, and maybe then it will get distributed? And he did come on board and sings 2 songs, and we have developed a friendship which is so beautiful that I cherish it till date, because I just asked him, and his songs were so popular that actually led to a huge recovery on the film by selling music. And I still remember kindness of people's heart that one cherishes. When we sold the song, they were like, can he do a music video? He would not do a music video for like big studios, he would not. And then I was like, they will not give us the money if you don't do a music video. He's like, okay, fine. And he's like, come just shoot in the studio. I was like, whatever you say. So if you see Pal from Monsoon Shootout, you see Arijit suddenly popping up and singing, and he literally did that out of goodness, because people are amazing. And when you ask and your intentions are correct, you get so much power and so much love and respect that. Say, until date, I mean, he debuted as a music director with Paglet, and I still don't believe it, and I still feel like you could do music for anyone, you know. But he's like, no, I want to do this. But that friendship started from me. Just I wrote him a long text. Hi, this is Guneet Monga. Do you think that my film played this? I'm a filmmaker. I'm an independent film. Do you think you can do this? I just want to request. So it was a really long text. He's called me laughing. He just called me like hysterically laughing. I said, I'm sorry. And he said, do you remember you used to come to Preetham Das office for another film that I was working on? And I used to be around, like working there, and asking you what you would like to eat. I was like, really? He's like, Guneet, I know you. He's like, really? You know me? So magic. This is magic. And then he's like, of course I will sing for you. I was like, okay. I thought like that was my box office ticket. So whatever it takes. Innovation is the mother of all of this. Nobody's taught us what it takes. Maybe one song breaks out and people come watch the film. I also learned it on the way. I sold my house for Monsoon Shootout, never made that money back till date. But, in my head, I can either feel like a failure or feel like I didn't go to USC, I would have spent the same kind of money. I taught myself and promoted myself as a producer. So I learned everything on job. I didn't go to UCLA or NYU and to figure out international co-productions. It and but you have to want to do this. And when I was working with Anurag Kashyap for 6-7 years, I ran Anurag Kashyap Films. He told me our films need to travel internationally, and I didn't know how to do that. But I took 40-hour flights to just go to Paris, or just go anywhere. Like I used to go to Royal Jordanian or whichever flight, cheapest, and literally ask couch surf. People stay on couches and just meet people. I had my own assistant account. I was like, hi, Guneet Monga is in town. Do you think you can meet? You know, whatever it takes. I'm like, and then I used to say she's in town only for 5 days, and Samne wala would say, oh, they can meet next week. I can consider shifting her tickets, because I had no time limit. So she will make time for you. Where was me on the other end? Such a comedy show. But I got those meetings, and I met those same people so many times that we did business with them. In fact, this is a really long answer to your question.
Yes, please, Guneet. We love it.
But there is somebody I met in 2011, in one of my meetings. And I actually did a deal with them now for a movie called Kill. But all this adds up. We met in 2011, and this is Roadside. This is Eric at Roadside Attractions. And 2011, 2014, 2015, 2017, showing up is important. Learning in the world is important. Where do I think something will work globally is because I just go to these film festivals, watch something, get the pulse of it. Each film festival is different for each one of us, right? So, showing up for yourself, making it happen for yourself, switching a producer brain, how to produce. Like when we go to Sundance, it's very expensive, or you go to Cannes. I used to put it up on Facebook and produce a house, like let's go share 5 people, and suddenly it becomes accessible, it becomes reachable, figure out, plan early, book your tickets, go out there and meet people and ask. And that's just what I have done. There is no, um, there's no rule book. We have to make our own. But there is a lot of information around, and there are so many amazing institutes, systems, applications. Like BAFTA runs a program for mentorship. Film Independent runs incredible program every year, takes filmmakers. Then there are Biennale, where you can get into that speed dating of pitching your project. Learn your pitch. It's so important. Can I tell you, Ritesh Batra and I, for Lunchbox, I think would have pitched the one line of the film uh, at least 350 times to find our money. At least 350 times. And before a big pitch, we used to practice for like hours. It was real. We practiced our laughs. We practiced our smiles. Like, do you know? And how we started. And then we used to practice it with our seniors to correct our pitch. The work that you put in, is important. Even if nobody funded us, they knew about this film. And when it released, it like the word of mouth was 100x because of the pitches we had made to the whole world. you know, I don't think we'd left anybody. जो मिल जाता था. Do you know that there is a, so I used to just start. And we carried a lunchbox to our big pitches. And then there is this 5,000 people of uneducated lot, they're called dabbawalas, who have the best system of distribution. And the queen of UK, I don't even remember right now, has validated that they are, 99.9% correct. And there are BBC documentaries on them, and they take hot lunch boxes from their wives to give it to their husbands in office. And in that 99.9% me, there's only 0.1% chance that it can go wrong. And this is a story about that. And we don't see it as a mistake, we see it as a miracle. So this is a story about miracles. And that's what we used to do everywhere, 500 times, and with that same energy, like Joe Milchai, do you know whatever? So, we used to just like, and then magic happened. Like we found partners, we found money, we, figured it out. And then when I came to India, I was like, listen, it's a 10 crore film. You just have to give me 4. I've raised the rest of the money. And, then it just made sense. There was the legendary Irfan Khan movie at a certain price that it made sense to equity, but you have to do that work. So, yeah.
Just want to say thank you for that answer, Guneet. It's amazing to me that it's not just the confidence, it's not just the risk taking, it's not just the asking and the belief and the kind heartedness of people, but it's like a lot of hard work and kind of process of learning that just never stops, right? I mean, you get up every day to do that.
Yeah, when my first film Salam India, and I do you all know that story of Salam India distribution? I was 21 years old, produced my first film Salam India. My neighbor gave me 50 lakhs somehow. He believed in me. And I went to Bombay and I started meeting people in malls. And I said, "Do you have a story? I have 50 lakhs. And I'm 21." And I met everyone at food courts. And what were the people I knew in Bombay? Who were the people I knew? Gaffers, light boys, caterers. Those were my friends. I knew those. I knew vendors. I didn't even know like ADs. The gaffers introduced me to some AD. ADs introduced me to some directors. I met people like with 5 button open gold chains, particular Mara, they're like, I'll give you a project, who are making projects. So you meet all kinds of people and they thought people can cheat me, so all of that used to happen. And I was like, no, I need a story. I have given myself a promotion every year because nobody else is giving it to me. I have upgraded myself consciously every year. I'm the producer. you know, Nobody's telling you, this is how I run my company. This is what I do. So I have had to just learn and be like, okay, I'm promoted. Now I can afford this. Whatever that promotion means to you, getting a car, getting, a different house or whatever. I'll be like, this is my promotion. So or even designation wise, or how you dress, what you wear, just little things, and all of this therapy helped me, understanding my own self and pitching my own self to my own self, because I'm always the person who doesn't have any money, the truth is, who's always hoping to get a cheaper ticket, who's always hoping that I can get a house to stay in which is close by and I don't have to walk too much at Cannes or Sundance, hoping to get money. But that's the reality. But in my mind, I'm just like, this is the coolest shit. I'm doing the best thing, So I have kind of manifested everything, every little thing. But my first film, Say Salam India, I met an incredible director, Subhash Kapoor, who also had access to the similar kind of money. And we all, 2006, we both went to make a film, and it was a children cricket film, and we thought we were so cool because 2007 was World Cup, and we just thought that we will get into marketing dollars, and we will get so many subsidiary, support because we are talking about cricket and kids, and this is the season. So we rushed in 2006 to make our film, to get it ready to March 2007, for the and we had the money, we figured the money, and that's a separate story. Digressing, my landlord, my I was on rent, and the person who was sitting on the second floor was like, I want to start a new business, and I want to start like a studio and make cute videos for babies for their rich parents. And you've done mass communication. Do you think you can run the studio? I asked him how much money. He's like, maybe 50 lakhs. I said, it's a very bad idea. I think you should give me the money and I'll go to Bombay and make a movie. And he agreed. And he gave me the money. And that's when I went to Bombay, and 2006. And I met a director. We both liked the film, and we were like, let's do it. Now, amazing. We made a beautiful film. It was very Jo Jeeta Vai Sikandar, underdog, sports film, classic, rich school, poor school. Rich, poor school wins over the rich school on the last ball, and the crescendo goes up, and you have to imagine how the last ball figured. So, classic sports film, uplifting, momentous, amazing score, songs, and rivalry, and all of that. Sports. It was a beautiful film, made very well, made well. My first film. I've now become 22, and it's come out in 2007. And India is going for the World Cup. Reebok has come up with Rahul Dravid shoes. We've approached Reebok, and they've said us, okay, we'll give you 25 lakhs for promotion. Then somebody's given us something, and then somebody's ready to put cross branding hoardings, and all this was in our plan. We were like, we are talking about pop culture, and pop culture is ready to throw money at cricket, and we also have a property that they can maybe co-brand, and give them more reasons and more whatever. Crickinfo.com I picked up money from. I did so many of things, whatever that mattered. And the first match that India goes, they get houses at Sahara, and they get, there's 2,000 crores being put on the cricket and all these news. That is the first time when sub TV, or I think some TV, was showing cricket, and it reduced their screen to 75% because there was advertising going on 25% of the screen. And as we go along, first match India loses, and matlab, India has had a heart attack. Like, how? The second match they go, and they make the maximum run ever in one day ever, 400 plus. And then there are gods again. Everybody's celebrating. Our little ad labs is putting out the film. Our distributors in the AC room, in the marketing room, they're like, amazing, amazing. We can now put out our film, and they're very excited to put out the film. And I was like, what if it loses? The third match was the final deciding match. And then 2,000 crores has been put on India. This is all, it's all marketing. India will not lose. So I was like, okay, we released our film the day that match happened because it was momentous, and, around that day, or maybe a couple of days before, and that match happened, and India lost, and now I actually did everything right. I've got it. We made the film on our own. We found a studio. We distributed the film, and the film has come out, and it's in the cinemas. It's my first film, and I'm so happy. It's actually in cinemas. It is so hard to get to there for an independent film, and now pan India, it's in cinemas, and the cinema owners are calling our distributor, Ad Labs, and saying, can you please take this film back? Give me a film from 1 month old. Give me Bheja Fry. Because right now, if I play cricket in my cinemas will get burnt. The emotion against cricket is so bad that you can't even talk about cricket. So please take anything related to cricket out of cinemas. So technically, the film released, and it used to be in films, 7 those big boxes, and those boxes were sent back to the distributor's office, and we didn't even know what happened. And Ad Labs had all the other rights to recover from DVD sales and down the stream TV sales. So whatever advertising money they put in, they would recover. So the cost of production was not recovered at all. I had picked up a job, and I was running. I was line producing Gajni at that point of time, and it was really cool to work with Amir sir to make a big film and experience a big film. So I was trying to put that together, and I started working on that for 2 months. And I literally went up to my boss there, and I said, I can't do it. My film is bombed, and I don't think I can allow myself to be a producer if I don't recover this money back. And then I had no plan. How do you recover this money back? So I came back to my school. I came back to Delhi. I went to my school, Bluebells, and I went to my principal. And I said, bachpan in childhood, we used to see films, 50 rupees per kid. You have 2,000 kids. Do you think you can, raise 50 rupees, $1 per kid and to see the film? She's like, sure. A week later, they asked all the kids. I went to Sapna Cinema behind my house. And I said, morning show, 9 to 12. How much money do you make? He said, 5,000, 7,000. I said, I'll give you 10,000. It is a 1,000-seater. So I got a 1,000-seater for 10,000, and 1,000 kids came for 50,000, and 40,000 was mine. Okay, so $1,000, $200 for the show, and $800 was my recovery per show. And the kids loved the film. They were jumping on seats, and and I could hear 1,000 kids, you know, their breath going like that, and that was magical. When you see a house full of your movie, there's no better feeling than that. And you hear the laughs, you hear the expression, and you've spent 2 years making it, and every beat lands. It's the most beautiful thing, um, and it was amazing. I went back to my principal, and I remember my parents were there with like dairy milk chocolates to give to kids, because I was telling them the idea is to make money, but they were just so excited that we're seeing a house full. But then that's parents, and then I went back to my principal and I said, can you give me a letter of appreciation? I took that letter of appreciation to DPS Puram, which had 25,000 kids, and I did the same deal with Sangam Cinema opposite it. So 20 shows happened there. Then I went back to my college and I said, and there was a class like this of 100 plus people, and I was just like, guys, I've made a film. I graduated 5 years ago. We all want to make a film. We were generally taught journalism more. Like most of my batchmates have been in journalism. And I was like, I've gone to Bombay, tried to make a film, come back. Do you think we can find, more schools? Because I can't do this on my own. It takes a week to crack one school. So then I had 27 boys on bikes as my interns. I got them all letters from ad labs. And there was a day in my life and 15 shows were running together. And when it got into autopilot, I just walked into Lintas. I used to do like 400 rupees an hour, stand and sell cheese for them when I was 16, 17, and get all my college to work on it. So I just walked into the advertising industry and I was like, 1,000 kids per, do you want to take the interval for any of your brands for sampling? I sold the interval for 10,000, 15,000, 15 minutes interval, like samples of ketchup or Maggie or whatever brand that they brought in, Surf Daag Achhe Hain, sample it with the sample audience. And then I sold the interval. I remember HCL came up with a flat screen. There used to be really fat screens before that. They came up with a flat screen and they said, can we display our fat screen? We'll give you 20,000. I said, done. I gave 5,000 to the theater guy extra, and those displays were set up by the advertising guys. Whatever it took, I did 350 shows, made all the money back. Went up to Panipat, Sonipat, Karnal, covered all the Delhi schools. But this was me as 22. So, hard work, yes, but innovation is at the I didn't know taxes. I mean, I still wonder how I pulled it off. But things you don't know, but things you learn and you figure it out. Yes.
Yes, I think we should actually go to the audience. I have so many questions for you, Guneet, but I think there are people here and they're going to have this only one chance to
Yes.
speak to you. So
Yeah.
please
Go ahead.
start.
You. You only. Huh.
I've been trying since 3 years and I'm waitlisted all the time. And this time I got a producer on board who is from Bombay itself. And then we both together tried for the same fund. And this time I was not even waitlisted for it. I don't even know the reason for it. And so it just got so hard for me because I put so many money on that film. And I thought that by the funds, I will at least be able to sustain my livelihood. So, do you know, is there any way, like, usually producers don't do that, I think, but is there any way through which at least us can sustain our livelihood, not just for the film, but so that we are alive to make that film?
Very good question. Guneet?
Yes. I have self-funded a film. I don't have so much money in life. I've self-funded a film, which is a documentary short. Incredible film. I love it. I've won 2 Oscars for 2 documentary shots. Period End of Sentence and Elephant Whispers. And I can't find distribution for this one. I love it. It's self money. It's been 2 years. It's the most incredible story. Um, and people just are not buying it. I don't know why, you know. And I am also trying, So, um, and the price of it is cheap. And I got another friend of mine to put in the money, and both of us have put in the money. There's no clear answer. If you have to make a life in films, you have to do much more. I have done two jobs. If you have a dream and you're following a documentary, then you have to support your life by working somewhere else. Are you assisting somewhere else? Are you expanding your knowledge? Are you in Bombay aiding, building a peer group that can actually, are you crowdfunding? Then crowdfund. Don't wait for applications. It's hard. No, it's not easy for anybody. But I just told you that I went up to take a job at Gajni. When life came crashing down, I was running once upon a time in Mumbai. I went up to Balaji and I started working for Balaji after producing Dasvidanya and Salam India. And then I was just like, if I can get some salary, it's fine till I get momentum back again. So I have consulted. I, in the night, used to just consult on ads and just be like, I'll do all your breakdowns, I'll do all your call sheets, would you give me 50,000 or whatever, 30,000. So I've always been available and said yes, and not be like, oh, that's below me, that's above me. At the least, you get to meet people. At the least, you don't even know when those people will stand up for you and help you. We are in an equity industry. We don't have government grants. We don't have any support system. So we have to support ourselves. And we support ourselves by working. And that work allows us to follow our dreams. It can't be either or. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. You know? So yeah, I have done so many jobs. Um, yeah. And even till now my company doesn't pay me. Cannot like I cannot afford to put my fees or anything. So I do things outside. I consult. You know. I've consulted YouTube to set up YouTube and all these gigs. I've put myself out there. I consulted Saregama to build their film slate. And this is while I'm a full-time producer in Sikya. So yeah.
Hi.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Ma'am,
Sunaine,
ma'am, I have two questions. But before that, I first saw your interview at Son of a Beach, where you talked about I'm the proud of India.
I'm the pride of India. I
Yeah.
believe it. I'm the best producer in India. I believe that also.
Yeah, and also you told about the Oscar, and at that time I searched you on IMDb, and saw that you are in every film. So I,
You're an yeah.
at that point I thought that you deserve Oscar.
Thank you.
I was wishing to.
Thank you. I want to tell you, 2018, there was a book written called Changemaker, and there's a chapter on that book on me, and they have some 5 pages on amazing women doing good work in the industry. And my chapter ends. It was published in 2018, and that chapter ends. Last line of that chapter is, "Do you think India will win an Oscar?" I said, "I will win an Oscar," and I said, "I am winning it. It's on the way." And 2019 we won for period end of sentence, and on that film I was an EP, so I did not get a trophy, and I was like, oh, I told my universe the wrong thing. Then I told the universe I need the trophy. So now 2023 I have the trophy, and now I'm telling the universe for a feature film, Indian feature film, shots बहुत अच्छी बात है, but now feature film, because I'm a feature film producer more. And that's also happening. We'll get an Oscar for, and I have to also go back and finish my speech that was cut off.
Yes, yes, yes.
I have a question. मैं अभी तक ना ये सोचता हूँ कि प्रोड्यूसर का काम क्या होता है. Is it just bringing the money for the team? And second question is, मेरी वर्ल्ड सिनेमा की टीचर कहती थी कि फिल्म मेकर को सोते हुए भी ये बात पता चलनी चाहिए कि प्रोडक्शन, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एंड एग्जीक्यूशन, ये सब चीज़ें कैसे इन सब की चीज़ें में बारे में पता करना था. Production, distribution, execution, and producer's role. Is it just limited to bringing the money?
So in India, because we are a 100% equity industry, you understand equity, right? Equity means hard cash, hard money. A person gives you, or a studio gives you, or you raise it, through uncles, aunts, parents, yourself. You have to return the money, right, with an interest. So we are in the industry of equity, and one has to understand that as you see your dreams, right? So this is hard equity business. So in India, largely producers are people, either they are wives of actors or they are mothers of actors, family. It's either film family or it is a person who has a lot of money, who comes from wealth, diamond merchants, construction people. So everybody's a producer. People who give that money are producers. And that's why largely the understanding of everybody's producer is the money person. Now I am neither. I'm neither film family nor I'm a money person, right? Neither I come from wealth. In a true sense, producer is somebody who raises the money, who firstly finds a project to raise money, firstly falls in love with the project, and then has to figure out who the director is, putting together the team, nurturing the film, making an environment that people can function in their optimal and best capacity is the key role of the producer. You can sign a check and make that environment toxic. It's going to be a shit film. You can sign that check and make the whole environment of filmmaking, because we're dreamers. I'm going to tell you something, that I'm going to make a film. Just imagine, it's like I'm asking for crores, and there's nothing. There's this paper, and I'm going to go execute it. It can be executed anyhow. The story can be told in a small way. The canvas can look big. It can be magic. It can be cinema, right? So, producer's role is also nurturing, also making sure the best HODs come on board, because the HODs add that value. So there is a role of that, knowing the temperament of the leader, which is the director, hoping that he can lead, he or she, and knowing there's a lot of soft skill needed. There's a lot of understanding that what is the kind of money, because the money is coming on your face value. So what is it that this person can do? What are the pluses? What are the minuses? And covering up for that. Bringing HODs on board, making sure that the environment is for optimal production. Like everybody can work at their best, which is the most underrated job of a producer. To make an environment which is not self-serving, which is serving the story. Because there's nobody bigger than the story. There's nobody bigger than the film. So there is everyday decision making needed to put your story above you, above your needs, above your ego, above your ideas, above your decisions, because you think your ideas are the best. And that's where downfall happens. So what if the ideas come from a team? And then how do you react to those ideas? So it's all this comes under nurturing, and execution. So you nurture. Most of the films that I've done are first and second time directors, and most of them have won awards around the world. And that is producing. Most of them, I've had 9 films at Cannes, 14 films, no, 16 films at Toronto, you know, 7 films at Sundance, 4 films at Venice, and counting. But it is about the environment you build. So that is underrated. And then once it's ready, then you have to do the same thing in the edit, because people will just come and tell you we care. Nobody's going to watch it. It happens to me on every film. In Lunchbox, people were like, at least make the meat na in the end. If you can't make the meat, put one ghanti, put one bell, that you know that he's come home. Can't you just put a bell? Like, we had wars on putting a bell. In Elephant Whisperers, everybody was like, put a voiceover. Get the biggest actor in the world. I'll be name dropping if I say the names, but I don't mean to do that. Get the biggest actor in the world who works for wildlife as a voiceover. And we were like, no, the indigenous community needs to have a voice. And it's decision making every day, and it's leaning into your instinct every day. Our parents told us, to follow something, and we've lost our instinct somewhere. What is your harnessing your instinct is at the core of it. Believing, having faith, asking, finding mentors, figuring it out, taking feedback, being open to feedback, sharing freely. Nobody's going to take it away. There is no hard secret. We are all working very hard. So freely sharing, freely asking, all of this. And then, of course, sales, marketing, distribution. And it doesn't start after you finish the film. It starts when the day you start putting it together. You start finding your partners then. It's not like I'll make the finished film, then it'll take 5 years. And those 5 years you'll think, how do I support myself? What do I do? I am the one who's not heard. I am the victim. Of course you are. You're stupid. You know? So you have to start from day one. You have to start finding your partners for marketing, for distribution from day one. There's no other way of this. And people will actually, you'll find more people in marketing and distribution on your day one because it is still an idea. Because they believe they can add value in your life. They'll come on board. Once it's finished, they've seen it, they're like, not me. I would have done it differently. So your chances of distribution are reduced to 10%. That somebody has to now like a fully finished film and also recover your money, that's too much pressure, no? So producer is we're not taught producing. So one has to learn it, and you learn it by working with a producer, working in a system. I actually encourage people to come intern. And when I started in Bombay, I was just like, I don't need to be paid. I'm learning, and kept my lifestyle very low. Like I used to only take petrol money and rent and petrol. I'm not saying that is the only way to work, but that's what I did. Just to get into a good space to work. And I gave myself 6 months to 1 year to learn. And then I doubled down. You find your tribe, you double it down, you learn, you ask your questions, you make your mistakes. You do bad deals. It's part of life. You meet people who will cheat you. And then you have to say, oh, thank you, I got cheated in 20s and not in 40s. You know? Yes.
Thank you and best of luck.
Thank you to you too. Yes.
Hi, Guneet. I'm Harpreet Kaur. I'm a filmmaker from US, and I have my own media company, Such Productions, and I'm actually going to be absolutely fearless in saying that I have faith that in the near future, Sikya and Such, Guneet and Harpreet will be making a project together. And I find you very inspiring. And I think what's beautiful is that you are absolutely fearless, honest, open when it comes to sharing your journey and knowledge. Because I think when people get successful, they hold back as if there's a big secret to filmmaking. So I find that very inspiring. So thank you for doing that. Congratulations on all your success. And I want to know, my question is simple. What do you look for in a story?
Firstly, I just want to say to your first part that solo, alone, you can only go this much. Together, you can win the world. So, filmmaking is a village. It needs a village to make a film. So, you have to go together. You don't even know kiske karam kahan leke ja rahe hain, So, be nice to everyone because you have to go together. There's no other way. So, solo, though, you can, like, it's a very short life lived, you know. Together is the fun. Together is beautiful and it's so empowering because we're all maybe bunch of have-nots, but we all have that dream and we're figuring it out and we'll make it work because there's so many of us believing in the same dream. So working together is magic, and finding that people, finding, coming out after a disagreement on a creative thing, all this is important. So all this makes it stronger, it's so yes. Second question was
What do you look for in a story?
a heart. That story needs to have a heart. It needs to and it needs to definitely be progressive and show women in the right light, show a better world because we live in a very difficult world. At least in the movies we do, we can find a heart and we can find, whatever. I mean, I've also done genre films. Recently, I made a film called Kill, but a heart, a kind of cinematic excellence. Why do I want to take somebody's 1.5, 2 hours on a journey? Why? Why should I ask for somebody's 2 hours for a one-way communication? And like, it starts with a twofold approach. One, the story, and then the director, and then the vision. And you start from, and day one, I dream the biggest. This I will show to this person and this will happen. Like, I just think about the biggest person in the world. Because I don't think I'm 6 degrees separate from anybody. I think I'm 2 or 3 degrees separate from the whole world. So I think like, okay, I figure it out. How does this happen? So, it's a multi-fold. It's what we look for a story is, why do you like a book? Well-written story, a well-crafted thought, something new, something interesting, something we want to spend next 3 years making. So it's a lot of those senses that come to play, and something that takes us forward, and something maybe that I've not done before. I love it when people come back to us, ये lunchbox जैसी है, क्यों करूँगी भाई मैं? you know, ये मतलब ये गैंग्स ऑफ वासेपुर है क्यों, why will we do, हो गया ना, we are also, evolution is happening, no? So I get so many pitches like that, that I'm that time only I'm like, it's okay, find somebody who's excited to do it, you know. Yes. That person behind you, sorry, yeah, with the mic.
Guneet is not just a producer, she's a good storyteller as well.
Yeah, I'm a
Lo-
storyteller, I tell stories.
lovely stories. So the question to you is, we all love cinema. We love independent cinema. I see that it doesn't go beyond festivals. You talked about this is an equity business. You talked about there is star system. You talked about the challenges with the exhibitors, and you told some of the stories. So what is that next big thing that you see, or what is that thing that you are longing? If we have that kind of a disruption, all these good films will actually travel to the people out there who is actually waiting to see.
Thank you. It's a very good question and it's very close to me. Yes, we work very hard. We work equally hard to make any film, right? Shooting any day, matching your day, raising the money, getting everything on time is surrenderability. Like so many things need to happen for you to get on that shooting floor, for you to find that release. I'm very, very grateful, firstly, for each and every release and each and every love and all of that. So um, I started with where I could and what I could, um, with people who wanted to work with me. Um, and some places I interned, I figured that's a place you start. You know, you figure out how am I starting. But very quickly I realized, and I actually realized with Lunchbox, because it did so well. We sold the whole world minus India. It says something, right, of independent filmmaking. Nobody in India wanted to buy the film, and I didn't have money to go to Cannes, you know, and I was happy to give the film it very little value because we really wanted to go to Cannes and try and have an opportunity. But thankfully, nobody bought, and we did screenings for everyone. And we went to Cannes, we sold the whole world. We recovered our entire money in one day of our premiere, 24 hours, 36 hours after the premiere. We recovered the entire equity money with MGs. And then still no distribution in India, you know. So you learn, you're like, what am I not understanding? What is it that I am doing different, right? And I'm not speaking their language. So you need to speak the language. And I'll say this in Hindi, आप क्रांति अपने कोने में नहीं ला सकते हो. आप क्रांति लाओ. But बीच में आकर, you know, roll up your sleeves, get into the thick of it, and then क्रांति लाओ ना. You know, so आप अपना craft, अपना कहानी, you can't break glass ceilings in your own corner. I don't know how to translate it in English, but you really have to be in the thick of it to make change happen. So when Karan Johar and Dharma came on board in distribution of Lunchbox, I saw magic happen. It is, I think, the highest box office independent film. It made 25, 26 crores on box office for a film that is the same thing, which doesn't have any songs. It still is a lot in English. This is still older people love story. No 18 to 20-year-old will come out to watch your film. This is what I was told. Everything still remained the same, but distribution changed, and distribution was mainstream, as mainstream as it. So that flipped the switch in my head that you need to be part of the mainstream to be able to push the narrative forward of whatever you want to do. So fast forward to 10 years now. My dream always was, when I started in the business in independent filmmaking, my dream always was to do something like Monsoon Wedding. It's something the whole world watches, a film that I'm part of, the whole world watches. And is distributed well, and is, you know, you go to a tiny village in some part of the world and people are like, I've seen a Hindi film. You know, and that dream got fulfilled with Lunchbox. It was my biggest it is my biggest footprint, beautiful film that has given us so much love. So that dream got fulfilled with Lunchbox. And then I saw a new dream. Of course, I wanted to win the Oscar. I'm not saying I know how to, but you just do so much that something, you know, happens. And with that intention, you show up every day. My dream now is to make, like I definitely wanted to tell brown stories to the whole world. I now want to do Crazy Rich Indians. I now want to do um, a Brown Panther. I want to do India's Jurassic Park. I want to be able to do $2 billion in box office, because I'm not in for the 100 crores. Because here the parameter is 100 crores, which is, I don't know, 15 million, 20 million, I don't know, lesser than that. So I want to be able to cross that threshold of a brown film with $1 billion in box office. That's what I want to do, and I want to spend the next decade figuring how to do that. I am also learning how to do that. But I also wanted to always do a genre film that is distributed around the world. We did a film called Kill, and it is extreme action, and it has gore, and it is a genre that has never, some sort of gore, and it has never been attempted in India in mainstream. And we produced this film with Dharma, with our partners from Lunchbox, and we were fully empowered to do this. Amazing relationship, amazing co-production, and again we showed it to people in India. They were like, "Pata nahi kya hai," you know, "Pata nahi kya hai ye," and nobody's seen it, because the only film that even comes close is Gajni, but that is an Amir Khan vehicle, and this is brand new, boys. And you can't compare a new actor film to an Amir Khan, because your Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan films come up with so much nostalgia, so much bandwagon, so much opinion making, that it's a very different space, right? And this is brand new actor and a brand new genre, and a director and a producer who's never done action before. We got in the action guys from Korea. There is always an attempt to do the best. So the Snowpiercer team was brought in, and the action was very Korean in nature. And I assumed that, Korean cinema works so well, we should try. And thankfully we had Dharma, who bankrolled it, financed it, and we had an incredible studio relationship. We had all the independence, we had all the love to go make the film. We made the film, we showed the film back. They were like, "Whoa, we've really leaned into the genre. It's a blood porn, it is." um, and it really takes it forward. And then we go to Toronto, and we've just announced a global deal, a US sales deal at a very, very good value with Lionsgate. And this is the first Indian film to be distributed, and we have a minimum 500 screens release by Lionsgate. And Lionsgate is the studio that's done John Wick, and this is an unprecedented deal that's ever happened for an Indian film, for a Hindi language film. And as of yesterday, we are selling the whole world. And we're again going to come back to India now and see. But this time I'm supported. I'm not alone running this race. I was supported. And this is what I mean. Get into the mainstream, do what you want. It's taken me 16 years to get here. So I'm working with a director who never did action. I'm working with a genre that's never happened in India. Action is a very, very expensive genre to get in. You have to shoot with your camera, prosthetics, um, your production design 3 times. You have to lighting, and everything needs to come together, and the rehearsal and the action. 5 things need to come together for one day of shoot to happen. And you rehearse it 2 times before, like with cameras, with everything. So everything that you can do in one day of a drama, it's 3x in action. The cost is 3x. But it was done with brand new people. But there was strategy, there was thought, and there was a thought of going global, and which is what has been a dream, which is we are on the journey, and hopefully it goes on to become the biggest action franchise from India to be distributed around the world. And hopefully the diaspora comes on to watch it as a plus one, and we are able to tap into the non-diaspora and expand and break open the box office globally and in India. But this is the journey I'm on. It's unfolding every day. But this is an action film that we did. So one has to. It's not that it's not possible. One has to keep doing it and hope you do it well. That you then get a festival launch, you then get a sales, you get a sales agent, the right sales agent, and you have the knowledge to do all of this. So I've learned all this over the years. And I was just saying that the distributor I met in 2011 for Lunchbox, and that deal did not happen, actually came forward and made this deal happen. The Roadside Attraction and Lunchbox got it together. So yeah. Thank you. Sorry, Roadside Attraction and Lionsgate got it together.
Good luck on that film.
Yes.
Like all the Charlie Kaufman shit. What do you think about absurd fiction in
Depends on
India?
the story. I mean,
Huh?
it's such a wide question. Depends on the story. The story and everything needs to land.
So, a market in India for absurd fiction?
Has it ever happened before? Do you know?
No,
So
I
then,
don't think so.
clearly there is no market, right?
Yeah.
It's never happened before. There's no success. There is no precedence. So it'll be difficult.
Okay. So I'm into that.
Yeah.
So
So just go get Amir Khan. It'll get made. It'll happen in India.
okay.
Yes.
Um,
After this, we'll come to you. Yes.
Hi, ma'am. I wanted to know this pride and conviction that you have, which really just is the foundation of everything that you do. Where does that come from? And like, we are in. I hate saying it, but we are in a male-dominated industry.
It is true.
I find myself saying, "Does this make sense?" a lot after everything I suggest, because there's this inherent approval-seeking thing that happens. Um, I know I'll overcome it with years that go on, but I want to know what is it that, where do you get that from? And was it inherently there when you started making films, or is it just something that you faked till you made it?
It's a combination of many things. But yes, parenting, I think it really comes down to parenting. I had beautiful parents, and they were my best friends as the only child, and they really built me fearlessly. They were like, you can. They taught me driving they started teaching me driving when I was 3. It's ridiculous, like we didn't even own a car. On people, my dad would just put me on his lap and be like, A, B, C, accelerator, brake, clutch. That's how I learned. It's ridiculous, So stories I have of my parents are ridiculous. Like I've been called to school because I was failing in math, really bad at studies. I was failing in math, and my teacher said, "Call your parents, call your dad," and everybody's shit scared. I was like, "Yeah, my dad will come." And my dad came in and actually told the teacher, "You are doing something wrong because my daughter is very intelligent. You have to work harder for her." So don't tell me that she doesn't pay attention. Her attention is amazing. She's, but that kind of faith he put in me, and I just because he had this meeting, I got 70%. Because we all seek validation somewhere. That's human nature. So, but also, I lost both of them when I was 22, and I'm their only child, and they both went in 6 months. And I could have spiraled. I also lost my Masi's son, and I saw my Masi spiral. It all happened in 6 months, and it came to a shock. One is never prepared for it, right? And then you have to find that faith, the faith that somebody, I did this exercise in therapy, and I recommend therapy to everybody. Like, it should be taught in school. I did this exercise in therapy, and my therapist asked me, "Describe yourself." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm nice." She's like, "And I'm helpful." She's like, "Okay, and it's good. I'm a nice person. I think so." That's all I had to say about myself. She said, "Just go ask two of your best friends, one your aunt who loves you. Describe Guneet." Right? I have voice notes of my best friend. It'll give me tears. My best friend is like, she's the most beautiful, generous, kind soul, always available, goes out of the way. She's gorgeous, and she's all heart. And I can't even talk about myself like the way she spoke about me, right? And then she taught me, you have to love yourself the way your loved ones love you. So you have to see yourself from that eye, and not from 100 other eyes you want validation from, right? Because there will always be somebody above in situation of power that you'll be seeking but you have to find your love from, you have to find your validation and your core from somebody who loves you unconditionally. And sometimes it's parents, sometimes it's a sibling, sometimes it's a best friend, sometimes it is. So then, are you kind enough to yourself to love yourself that much? And then, of course, I have a spiritual practice. So it's meditation, and it's Gurbani, and it is just, it's all written there. It's all beautiful. And that kind of took me, I was overly dependent on human beings. I was overly cautious of every word I said. I used to text before I even said. Very scared of putting my opinions out there. 26 when I produced Gangs of Wasseypur. So it doesn't come easy. Nothing comes easily. And you educate yourself with every situation. Because you're like, okay, you read the room, you figure it out, you ask your question. Sometimes you not accept it, sometimes you accept it, but you keep trying. And then with therapy, I self-taught myself. I understood self-love, and that's where found that breakthrough of belief that I know what I'm doing is right, and that kind of double down with experience, with years, with one success after another. There has been failure part of it, but it's part of life, and it's getting right back on your feet and be like, okay, let's keep going on. And I also want to credit Ajin Jain, my partner, my producing partner, who actually runs Sikya. So I just think the team that you build, the life that you choose to build, the people the people you are you are a sum total of the people around you. So you decide who are the people you want around yourself. So that's why I always wanted internships. I always wanted to work in places, different bigger places, to learn from there and actually learn what not to do also. What I didn't like in operations, I don't do. So and yes, now I come with kind of extreme belief, extreme faith, and that is just me manifesting. That is just me like 100% driving in, saying, "Hum jeet rahe hain Oscar." Sometimes Achin used to call me during the Elephant Whisperers race and be like, "Ha, so where are we? What is happening? Do you think?" I was like, "We are winning." He's like, "Okay, but what are we doing? Can we help?" I said, "We are winning." He used to keep the phone down. He's like, "I don't know what you're saying." I was like, "But hum jeet rahe hain." I don't know where it comes from. It's the lightness of not taking stress on anything, because it's fine. It'll all work out in the end. You're going to tell this to your 20-year-old self. Now I'm turning 40 in few weeks, in 3 weeks. I've taken too much stress in life. So this is, everything works out in the end. There's no point. And if it's male dominated, if it's equity, it's the it's the what do you say? It's the game in hand. And you roll your dice accordingly. You have to be smart. You have to think. You have to plan. You can't be like मेरे साथ ये हो गया. So that is the cards you are dealt with, and you have to figure your game.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, first of all, thanks for my story yesterday to you, and thanks for. And since we're talking about the distribution system, and you've been talking about the equity-stricken system, right? So I would just like to know. I'm just being curious about it. That are you also exploring the NFT space for
No, I
distribution?
have nothing. I don't know anything about it. I put some money, and that platform got shut. What was that platform? Vault. And then I lost 4 lakhs, and then I've never gone to crypto again.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I wanted to pitch to you yesterday. So please give
Yeah.
it a thought.
I
And
lost
yeah.
4 lakhs there.
Yeah, that's what my story is.
Yeah,
So
but yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, no, so I have no idea about it.
Right.
I'm
But it's a
maybe
very
when
useful tool for
yeah,
producing film
maybe
because
I'll learn.
that's what is happening.
I'll do a Zoom call with you and learn. Okay, what this is. Yes.
Hi, ma'am. I'm a film student from LPU.
From
So, LPU, ma'am.
LPU.
Yeah. So my question is like, in the journey of idea to execution and distribution, how important it is like to have a plan B, or like how do you figure it out?
It's to each their own. Like with your producer, firstly find a producer. And know that यहाँ पे कोई producing भी नहीं सिखा रहा. Like there's no producing school or anything. So you both have to teach yourself, and you have to empower your producer and have another human being who's thinking about producing, and who's as passionate. And I think together you um, think sum total of my life and maybe the cover of my book someday that I write is running in fog. So I run very hard in fog. I don't know where works out. I don't know if it's plan D, E, C, B, but you try. You open as many doors as you can. Keep keep moving forward.
Thank you.
Hi, I wanted to know what went into running your Oscar campaigns.
Netflix. Netflix was the studio, and they have an incredible team. Both the films. I've also ran campaigns for Visarnai, for other films, Jallikattu, Bittu. I've run few campaigns before, but it's getting up first 101. If you have US distribution, life gets easier. Then they know it's a. Please know that it's an American TV show. It's an award. It's an American award, and it's run there for many, many years, and people there know what they're doing and how they're doing. All the rules, all the subtext, so they know that, they do this every year. So first 101 is getting American distribution. If you don't have it, it's very hard. And then you get yourself a PR, which usually a distributor gets you, or they have their own PR. and then it's all about PR. Or you also can get yourself an EP. Like there was a film in our category that got Malala as an EP this year, and they did insane amount of publicity. It was called Stranger by the Gate, and it was epic to see Malala work so hard as an EP for the film. So an EP was so involved. Like Joyland did go and get Malala and Riz, but it did not make it to the shortlist. So there is no correct path, but to expand your conversation, because know that there are 100 others doing the same thing. So how do you expand your conversation? I wore elephant sarees, so there is no I used elephant as to get into, because any room you enter has voters, and you're a brown skinned person, and I just wore elephant every day to reach out to people, and thankfully people had seen the film because it was freely available on Netflix. And it's a widely known platform, and people would come talk to me and said, it's a beautiful film, and then have the, if you're doing it yourself, have the money for PR, have the money to stay there, have the heart and the energy to stay for 2 months. It really took a toll on my health. To just, we're so used to, but it's hard to stay out of your own. For me, it was hard to stay out of your own comfort zone for 2 months. But our campaign particularly was run by Netflix, and a lot of Indian and a lot of mentors, a lot of people that you've touched base life, like 10 years of, they come out and they help you. Like you can send out press releases through newsletters, through Film Independent, through Sundance, through, there are services like that. You can do email blasts, but everybody's also doing that. But to get into a late night show or a good morning show, it needs to be a certain EP who is well known there, who has that clout. So it's you're dealing with American awards, you're dealing with America and pop culture. So one needs to have that switch, and it all works. It actually happens if you have an American distributor. We had Netflix both in Period and in Elephant Whispers. Yeah. Yes. 1 second. You asked one question. Yeah. There behind you.
First of all, like I absolutely loved your story. Since this time you started talking, I just cannot
Thank
just
you.
I've
I get
just been
paid to talk.
yeah. And one thing I really loved is that how passionate you are about action filmmaking, which I've never at least seen in person some Indian filmmaker talk about. So why do you like, my question is, why do you think that India hasn't has like a ever a burgeoning action scene?
We'll make one. Who cares? It doesn't happen. Hum aa gaye na. We'll build Kill as a series, like as part 2, part 3, and we'll keep doing more action films. I mean, if not had it, and if you have interest to do it, then do it. But learn how it's done around the world, so
Right.
that when you do it in India, you can do it the right way and get the right partners for it.
Right.
Because we do a lot of action where gravity doesn't play a role.
Yeah.
But you can make, you can do what you want. Find the money for it, find the partners for it, find the director for it, and however somebody wants to do, what their experience is. My director, Nikhil Bhatt, I have to say, wrote an action film where he had written every beat and every punch and every fight. It was like a fully detailed, I'd never even imagined an action script to be like that. And he'd never done action, but it was incredible. It took us 9 months to just go to do 9 months of pre-production, because we had to actually innovate on making the train. Every part of the train moved. It was on hydraulics. It was genius set. Mayur Sharma, the production designer. It was outstanding what we were able to do, where every wall is collapsible, the roof is collapsible. It is a pure piece of art, because it was such restrained, and you have the full film is in a train.
Right.
The entire, that's a 100-minute film, 95 minutes you're in the train. So to keep audience engaged visually, so that it's not repeat beats. I used to be so excited about the train, because I used to like go meet anybody and everybody, and I was like, do you know we've built a train? And I remember Achin used to telling me, ye log na humse bade set lagate hain. I was like, no, but this is genius, because nobody's done what we were able to do. So the kind of production design that was, and how lights were figuring, like the camera, light, action, prosthetic.
Right.
Like we leaned into more on prosthetic than on VFX, and that pretty much saved us.
Yeah.
Dirty Hands, the team, they did incredible work in the prosthetic. So the HODs and Nikhil made the film, and whenever it comes out, you will see it. But um, few people around the world who I see as mentors have actually, for the first time in their life, come up to me and said, it's a very well produced film. You know, people don't usually say very well written, very well acted, very well, amazing director. But this is the first time I heard it's a very well produced film, which is which is a sum total of so many incredible HODs. You know,
I just have one last question related to Kill. I haven't watched the movie, but like how
nobody's
much
seen it in India. Yeah,
time did you like spend just for the fight choreographies and stuff?
9 months. I told you the whole thing. Fight choreography was 3 months.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Got my name right.
Yeah, Dia.
Yeah. So I think I'm not asking a like straight up answer to my question, but I think you're the nicest person who can answer my question. So I think all of this I'm thinking.
Yeah.
कि हमने अभी शूट किया हमारा फिल्म and I found a director and it was a very hearty project. We planned to मतलब हमने 3 लाख का फंड कलेक्ट करने का सोचा था but we ended up only getting 75,000 and I being a creative producer और मतलब पूरी टीम ही and we are still 10,000 plus कि हमने 60,000 में बना दी है वो पूरी मूवी ठीक है सब कुछ सही जा रहा है लग रहा है कि हाँ मैं बन सकती हूँ प्रोड्यूसर सब कुछ सही जा रहा है everybody on the set the whole crew was working on a collaborative basis but I am in that phase of my life कि अभी मेरे को पता करना है कि आर या पार कि मैं करूँ इस करियर producing as a career कि वापस corporate
Where are you
ले
based?
Delhi.
And you work out of Delhi?
Yes.
Come to Bombay, work with us.
Okay.
Yeah, come to Sikya. अपने आप producing सीख जाओगे. Yeah.
अरे बट सच्ची मम्मी को भी बोलना पड़ेगा ना कि
तो मतलब
मम्मी
भागने के लिए घर से भगा नहीं रही हूँ मैं तुम्हें.
मम्मी डाइसी है ना कि
हाँ?
क्या प्रोड्यूसिंग क्या होता
फिर
है
मम्मी की
तुम
सुन लो.
कैसे हुआ?
तो हाँ
कर लूँ ना फिर प्रोड्यूसिंग ही.
बहुत मजा आता है. It's a beautiful industry. We are setting up. It's beautiful. It's you meet some of the most educated, well-read people traveled around the world telling stories. It's a safe space. Bombay is amazing. And it depends on the internships and the places you go to. You know, so somebody could have a weird experience also, but that's not definition of our industry. I work in a outstanding place, and it's my passion, and it all adds up. So yeah, come work with us, or any other good production house whose films you like.
I really like Sikya's work.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming to Mumbai.
Aaj. Thanks.
Wow, how many more people want to go to Shikya?
Yeah.
Guneet, you have a whole gang
Come,
here.
come. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, then we'll come to you. Okay, sorry. We'll send the mic back there.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Shresh.
You are?
Shresh.
Shresh.
I actually am not a filmmaker. I just love movies, but I am a musician. Like I play violin, and I'm just getting into the music industry or something. And I wanted to know if I wanted to score movies or like in the movie In the Mood for Love. There's Yumeji's theme where there's only violin. Like to do that, what should I do or something like that? If you have any idea about that.
Filmmaking is not just, one aspect. It takes a village. I think come work on films, build your peer group, score on, put yourself out there to score for student films. Go to FTI, say that I'll do it, whatever it takes, Whistling Woods.
And if you need any violin in any of your movies, then
Yeah,
you
but that is not my decision as a producer. It's a decision of the music composer. So then to work and to be able to build your peer group in the music field, you will need to work with music composers. And that's where you come up, and then they see you and they refer you. One leads to another. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, that side.
Hi, Guneet.
Yes.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hi. I'm Suruchi. I'm a filmmaker from Rajasthan, and your journey has been very, very inspiring for me personally also. And you've spoken about using courage as a very important tool to, go forward. I want to ask you about the moral judgments that we have to make as producers constantly, especially in this polarizing space that we are in today. How does one hold ground in finding the right thing to do, if there is, like.
What does that mean?
Can you talk a little about making strong choices which are which feel morally correct in for you as a producer? Because I do feel as producers we have to constantly juggle between decision making of all kinds, and in the current scenario when the opinions can matter, can be extremely polarizing as well. How does one find clarity in finding the right thing to do um, as a producer, if it makes sense?
Do you mean in documentary fiction?
Anything, I think, on a day-to-day basis, on how to deal with your team, on how to what kind of films to make. There are so many decisions that we make as producers. So,
I don't do anything immoral.
sorry.
I don't do anything immoral. I don't do anything that doesn't sit with me. You
Right.
know, why do it? Life is so short. I really feel that we come on this earth with breath and no name. We only have breath, and when we go from this earth, we leave away the breath, and we only have the name. So it matters to me on what my name comes. So that thought defines my decisions on everyday basis. So I want to do something which people 100 years from now will watch and join those dots and be like, she was doing something, she was on to something. I really, really want to put Indian stories on the world map, and that's all I want to do. So I want to do sci-fi, I want to do action, I want to do dramas. You can't put me in a box. So if it's not the season to do anything political, I won't. When the time is right, and if the story is right, for me, I'm in service of the story. Like I said, the story is bigger than us, our thoughts. But yeah, your moral compass is your own from childhood on all decision making. And building a team. I think after a point of time, your only job is HR, where you have to build the right team and have the right taste amongst your team, because they understand your taste, you understand that. So that's only when you can delegate. We're in the creative business. Once you know that we've groomed each other with the right taste, then you will like, okay, you can reach out to Suma, who's our head of development. But you meet people and you work with them, and you conversations.
One last question would be, any advice for short film producers? Because so often there is a lot of pessimism around, oh, short film ka koi bazaar nahi hai, kuch nahi hoga
But
uska.
true, there is no market. That's true. It's not pessimism. It's not pessimism, and you're not a victim. It is the truth. There are no buyers. So your buyers are YouTube. You have to put it on YouTube so that it's freely available. Sometime in between, Amazon Mini opened up and was a buyer. Sometime Geo becomes a buyer. But is that your business plan? So why are you making a short film? To harness your own skills. So you have to crowdfund, and you have to de-risk yourself, and you have to put it on YouTube. And in between, if you get a Geo as a buyer, if you get somebody, or you get a big EP, to put out some Instagram stories and marketing it, and if it is well made, apply to competitions, festivals, then all that is a bonus. But you make short films for yourself and for your craft, but you have to de-risk yourself fully, so you can hustle harder, put yourself out there, ask for more, raise 50 lakhs, ask for favors, whatever, raise 30 lakhs, 65,000 mein film bana ke baithe hain. We started That Girl in Yellow Boots, and we finished, it was a 24-day schedule, we finished the film in 13 days. So do what it takes, but de-risk yourself.
Thank you.
You had a question, right? Or it's done? Oh, sorry. After that. Okay, we'll take a couple of more. Okay, warna sab log.
I think we'll stop in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Should I go for it? Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Anant. I'm a writer. What I wanted to ask was uh, if you want to make a feature, if you want to write a feature, is it a better route for me to go to a director, approach a director and try to collaborate with a director? Or should I approach a producer or a platform? What is the safer route for me in which people like me, like writers, would be more protected and would feel more empowered
before money comes in and before like the conversation takes off, basically.
Where are you based?
Mumbai.
Mumbai. Do you have an agent?
No, so we write together.
Yeah.
So we made that mistake at one point. We felt like it was a mistake because I think the agent that we were working with was too heavy on us. But is it a
Okay.
good idea to be represented?
Who was an agent? It's
Don't wanna take
okay.
names. Matrix.
Matrix. Matrix is usually very good with actors, you know. But you know, I think going to places like Film Bazaar, you'll meet some incredible filmmakers here, DIFF, or you know, putting your stories out there with like what is your tribe? Like who are the directors you're surrounded with? You know, so or even coming with your stories to production houses. Getting yourself a lawyer is important more than an agent. So you feel like you're protected. Don't overthink the process. The cheating part of it is all part of learning. So you have to say thank you for that. So you can be smarter when you're next deal. But there's no rules to that. There's not like either this or that is correct. You know, we have incredible directors, and if we like your story, we can, you know, pitch it to Umesh sir who made Paglet. We can pitch it to Nikhil who's just done Kill, who's, you know, so some of our directors or the universe that I'm surrounded with, or any such production company. There is Somain and Dharma, you know. So I think writing emails, picking up a meeting, and actually meeting the development team is important than to just say I want to meet the head of this company, because that's very hard. We're always traveling, we're always doing 100 things, you know. So just meet the development guys and ask, and everybody will meet. It's their job, and they'll also be in Film Bazaar. People will also be here. It's easy to meet and put your stories out there, pitch them, and say that these are few ideas that we have. Do you like this? Then we can, you know, figure out. And what have we written? Then one wants to see a sample, one wants to read. We're always looking for writers.
Correct.
There's definitely a gap, right? Like we're always looking for writers, and you're looking for a way. So just meet development people. Meet Suma in our company.
Got it. Thank you.
And many other, like Sumain in Dharma. So many other people like that. Who'll take a meeting easily. It's not difficult.
Actually, I wanted to ask, I mean, can I continue? Yeah. So I wanted to ask, hello. Am I audible? Yeah. I wanted to ask about the second step, like getting your foot in the door is easier than fighting for that little bit of like retaining IP, stuff like that. Like
As a
how
writer,
do
you can't retain IP.
Yeah. So I mean, I just wanted to ask.
That's not the IPs goes with the even I can't retain IP. Goes with the studio.
It goes away. There's no way
So
protected.
then what are these? Where are you learning this from? What is the fight? It doesn't exist. Write more, na.
Got it.
First give a box office, then keep whatever you want.
Got it.
Give 500 crores, then put your rules out there. Now, what are these rules before?
Got it.
Have
Okay.
3 successes and then do what you want.
Got it. Thank you.
I think this will be the last question. So please.
Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible? Hello, ma'am. Yeah, sure. So, ma'am, I am currently an intern at a production house based in Delhi, and after hearing you talk for about an hour, more than an hour, I'm pretty sure we hit all the right boxes. Like we are in the market of stories more than, I mean, I do cold texting on LinkedIn and everything, and we got in touch with Maddock and everything from Mumbai. Since we're based in New Delhi, we don't have, at the moment, I don't have the luxury to go to Mumbai. And I am supposed to be in charge of, getting in touch with studios and talking to them about the stories we have. And the stories we have are basically book rights. So my job is to read books and then decide what story people would like on the big screen. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is, I got really, really scared to the point where I'm shivering by hearing you ask the question to people, where are they based? And I asked this question to Shaunak Sen in May when he was in IHC for his screening of All That Breathes. And straight up he said that, oh, no one cares, don't go to Mumbai and everything. You have grants here. Yeah.
Yeah, he made a documentary. So you
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
choose. So if
exactly.
you're making a documentary, there's a different market for that. But if you want to be in the fiction world, and you're early in your career, it's good to work with production houses that are doing 10 things, you know, like an internship in Murdoch will teach you more, I feel, you know, and then that internship you can't do offline, na. You can't be
There's
like, मुझे Zoom में internship करा लो.
yeah.
मतलब इतना भी नहीं मर रहे हम interns के लिए. So what I'm trying to say is that if you want to be in the fiction world, then you have to get your hands dirty and roll up the sleeves and slum it out and get paid for it. Nobody's expecting to do it for free, but then pick up a place where you know you learn more. So my last assistant is here, Man. She's not here right now, but she's here at DIFF, and she where is she? Oh, she's here. Yeah, she's just picked up an award at Dimensions for a film that she's produced. And she worked with us for a couple of years, 1 year, I think. And she's from Jaipur. So you learn something. You build a peer group. Not that she and I worked every day, but she also worked with the entire office. You know, and there's social media, there's development, there's so many departments. There's production, there's budgeting. You know, it's literally so 5-6 departments working together, and you kind of grasp so much in thick of it. So it's amazing. I'm so proud of her. So as a producer, to grow, to be able to do short films on your own, to be able to then take it out to, but you grasp something. Man, did you learn something from Sikya? Yeah, you figure it out, you know. So that stuff, when then you see why things, how do you even pitch? You know, we're constantly pitching. There are executives coming in and out. So you know that atmosphere is important. But if you want to do a documentary that is based in another city and you are dependent only on grants, it's a separate conversation, you know, for your career. So you have to decide.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you for such an amazing session and for keeping it real. I
Louder.
am- Now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm. Oh, like that. Okay. I can hear myself now. Thanks for keeping it real. I'm an independent documentary filmmaker, and I'm at least trying to become one. तो इंडिया में I'm trying to figure out कि if I have a story, process कैसे काम करता है? Like if I take it to a production company, how do I take it to them, and उसके बाद क्या होता है?
So Kartiki Gonzalez was a still photographer, natural history photographer, and has never done films. And she sent cold pitch of her trailer. She shot for a year on her own, on her phone, on her camera, and she sent a cold pitch to Netflix and to us, and we both responded. And she went on to win the Oscar, first time filmmaker. So be innovative, you know, be creative. Don't just think things will come to you because the way you want them. Maybe show us the craft, make a trailer. She had a beautiful trailer, you know, like it was a pitch trailer, and it was like, if you give me the money and the resources, I'll go make the film. And we were like, this is beautiful, we want an in. And that's how everybody came on board.
That's really inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your questions, and thank you, Guneet, for
Thank
such an
you.
inspiring session.
Thank you. Thank you.
So happy that you've shared the way you have. You know,
Thank
it's
you. I
very,
loved
very
it.
rare. You put so much into it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope I was able to answer many questions and get more clarity. Yeah. Thank you for listening to me patiently.